There shall be a select committee to be known as the Committee on Implementation. The committee shall scrutinize the resolutions of the House, including adopted committee reports. You're just about to adopt this report now. So the implementation committee cannot, you can't put the horse, the cat before the horse. What will it implement if this report is not there from the committees? So the starting point, in my opinion, is that these reports by the Public Investments Committee, Public Accounts Committee, should not be more than 1 year or 2 years old. That way you're able to get a CEO who is in office. But proceed. I mean, this is just to basically give you a bit of, proceed.
Say this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you see, 13th Parliament, what 13th Parliament has tried to do is to redeem that. Give me like 5 more minutes.
Proceed. You can have 3 more minutes.
13th Parliament has tried to redeem that because you remember we only used to have one Public Accounts Committee. And it was very difficult, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that all the accounts of all these state corporations were audited and the reports came to the floor, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I want, Mwanje, you are here at 12th Parliament? No, you are not, it's this Parliament. But you see, this is the first time we're having this many committees. It used to be only one. So what you are saying actually can happen only if we hasten the process to get all these reports out as soon as possible. And that's why I like what Wangwe has done. Chairman Wangwe, has consolidated reports of many years. You have reached which year? 2017?
No, yes, literally.
2024, which I want to congratulate him, Honorable Speaker. Yes. Next year, probably his next report will be a current report. And therefore, the implementation committee will be able to look at a current report and implement the resolution, force the implementation of the resolution. And that is what we must do. And I want to urge all these committee chairs of audit committees that we have, Honorable Speaker, to actually do that. We need to catch the guy when he is still at work. And we bring him here to Parliament and shame him and throw him out. Instead of them just continuing to squander and finish public institutions, Honorable Speaker. Even when we merge them, there is a paper I will table here, Honorable Speaker, and a motion I will bring on government enterprises, Honorable Speaker. But if we do that, if we do not catch these guys, they will continue their bad manners to waste taxpayers' money. We continue to pay loans. We continue to feed them, to eat, and all that, Honorable Speaker. There has to come a time to stop the squander of public resources by incompetent CEOs of these corporations. And I want them to hear that we are coming for them and will bring them to this house. We shall shame them and throw them out. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. Ndindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to allow the committee for the report, and I want to give a few comments on it. One, Honorable Speaker, is that it is important we are discussing about the audit of corporations. At a time when you actually check the government data about the borrowing of our country, and I'm bringing in borrowing because it is also attached, because most of the implementation of government is done by SAGAs, is that the first 2 months of this financial year, Honorable Speaker, you can imagine the country spent 386 billion shillings to service debt. And within that 2 months, the country only received 329 billion in tax revenue. What does that mean? We actually spent 117% of our collections in servicing debt. It means we spent all the money we collected in servicing debt, but borrowed even more to service debt. And it is a grim situation. It is grim because much of the money that is borrowed by the state also is implemented in terms of projects through the kind of sagas that we are debating their reports today. But going specific, Honorable Speaker, to this debate, I want just to highlight on 2 sagas or 2 corporations. One is the Child Welfare Society of Kenya. And Honorable Speaker, if you check the audits we are debating today, some actually date back to 8 years ago. We are debating here a report of 2016. And we are in 20, as you put it, Honorable Speaker, it's actually 10 years. And I wonder then, what kind of utility can we give to the expenditure of public resources when we are debating the audit for 10 years ago? Definitely, a lot has happened. There is a lot of dynamic situations that have been witnessed, including change of personnel and the rest. But I hope we are going to improve, and especially in terms of the audit committees. Honorable Speaker, on child welfare, I have been interacting with them in my previous station, and I want to say that some of these sagas actually do a lot of work when it comes to granting social service to our country. And there has been a lot of back and forth in terms of the anchoring of the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, whether as a government saga or whichever. There has been a lot of back and forth. But primarily the kind of work they do is public. And I say so because there has been a lot of confusion when it comes to funding the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, because some of the people in the National Treasury don't want to assign them the rightful role as a government parastatal, which they are, Honorable Speaker, based on what they do. But also we have seen the kind of service they render to the public of Kenya needs money continually. Is this not a saga where you need to fund money this year, the next year you need to decide whether to fund? Because the kind of things they do is, for example, paying school fees for vulnerable children, feeding some of these rescued children. You cannot fund them this year, and then there is, next year, somebody is gravitating towards whether to fund or not. In fact, Honorable Speaker, some of these sagas, their funding should actually come from CFS. From CFS, so that even before we are paid our salaries, some of these very critical and important bodies should actually be funded even before. At the category where we fund the service of debt, that is where they need to be funded. The critical point I had is this one, Honorable Speaker, on NSSF. Honorable Speaker, and I want to request the committee to even go further than what they have done. Because as the people's representatives, our audit should not just be about figures. It should also be about results and intentions. The foundation of NSSF is to safeguard workers' money. Workers' money, when it comes to their contribution, they are the ones to take up the contributions, but also to do the payouts at the due time. Honorable Speaker, you cannot repay money when you have it. There is nothing, you cannot pay money on credit. You cannot repay it to pensioners when you have it. And that is why the mandate of NSSF primarily is to make sure that they are investing the monies they are collecting. One is to beat inflation. But also number two is to make sure that the purse is growing, not shrinking. So that when the time to pay up comes, you cannot pay up money through stories. You can only pay up money through money. I say so, Honorable Speaker, because we need to be very forthright when it comes to the critical roles of NSSF. The work of NSSF is to collect money, invest. One of the areas they need to do is that, and to always have in mind, is that they need to have a commercial mind in all the endeavors they make in terms of investments. And in doing so, NSSF money, because these are contributions by Kenyans, even in those investments, should go towards investments that are also helping Kenyans, even as they work, even as before they wait for retirement. So that you actually beat two birds with one stone. You are serving them now with their money, but also the money is growing, so that when they need the money is actually available. Honorable Speaker, that calls for diversity. NSSF, you look primarily in Kenya, they focus on T-bills, they focus on treasury boards, they focus on the market, the equities market. And they are predominant when it comes to purchases of shares in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. But Honorable Speaker, they need to broaden further. As a catalyst of an economy, if you look at, for example, the capital markets in the US, there are critical funds I keep mentioning here, for example, private equity funds, venture capital funds. And NSSF is at a very vantage point, Honorable Speaker, to be able to even establish those kind of funds, so that beyond investing in the secondary market, they should also invest in the primary market, in the series funding of companies, so that at the same time as they are growing the purse, they are also helping in incubating SMEs and helping them thrive. But of course, that can only happen when there is a lot of professionalism instilled when it comes to management of the funds at the NSSF. Honorable Speaker, and I bet that the chair is listening.
I think he's very
Keen.
very attentive, extremely keen.
I have been somewhat disappointed of late by the way in which we are deploying the resources when it comes to NSSF. Honorable Speaker, the guideline, the only guiding tool when it comes to investments is beyond stimulating the economy, but making sure that when you put in a shilling, it comes back as more, because that is the basis of investments. But, Honorable Speaker, we cannot afford to put NSSF money on a grandiose of implementation, of experimentation. Honorable Speaker, even when you are experimenting, you don't hedge your entire purse. You use just a fraction. We have seen a lot of experimentation nowadays when it comes to NSSF on different terms. One term, for example, we saw the other day the government of Kenya was trying to raise money on hedging the money that goes to sports fund through a board called Talanta Fund. Honorable Speaker, the truth of the matter is that this board was actually taken to the Nairobi Securities Exchange on the secondary market, but the investors of that board is still public money. NSSF was the number 2 investor in the Talanta board. Honorable Speaker, this is 45 billion Kenya shillings, which was shunned by all the other private enterprises, including banks. Private banks in the private arena never invested in Talanta board, but NSSF money found its way there, around 10 billion shillings. I don't think that was prudent. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of PPPs. It is important for Kenyans to know the expansion of Nairobi to Nakuru Highway is not being funded by the kind of debt that I mentioned, which is growing astronomically. It is through a PPP, but PPP is just a name. We are actually spending NSSF money in building the road. And then we are telling NSSF that they put toll stations, they recover their investment through tolling. One, it is wrong to toll Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. It is wrong economically to toll it because it is not economically viable to toll it. But number 2, also, it is not commercially viable for workers' money to do the work that the government should be doing.
Badi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia fursa hii ili na mimi kuchangia katika hii kamati ya ripoti ya kamati ya uhasibu. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kwanza nataka kumpongeza sana Mheshimiwa Wangwe ambaye ni mwenyekiti wa kamati hii ya uhasibu. Na mimi binafsi nataka kumpongeza Mheshimiwa Wangwe kwa sababu tajriba aliyoonyesha katika ripoti hii ni ya hali ya juu sana. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, hakuanza leo. Mheshimiwa Wangwe alikuwa mkuu wa uhasibu kule kwetu Changamwe katika kampuni inaitwa Coast Holiers. Kwa hivyo ni mtu ambaye tajriba yake imetoka mbali mpaka leo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kitu ambayo nataka kusema, nitajaribu zaidi sana kuingia katika vipengee vya mashirika 4 peke yake ambayo hususan ndio ambayo ripoti yake imekuja. Ya National Syndemic Disease Control Council ambayo zamani ilikuwa ni National AIDS Council, Control Council, National Social Security Fund, National Cancer Institute of Kenya, na Child Welfare Society of Kenya. Hizi ni ripoti 4, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambazo zimeletwa na kamati hii. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kusema lau ingelikuwa kuna ripoti ya 5 ambayo ni ya Kenya Cashew Nuts Board pengine imeletwa, Mheshimiwa Owen Baya namna alivyozungumza, engemtafuta huyo CEO wa Kenya Cashew Nuts aliyeua, basi naye akamalizana naye hapa hapa. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kusema leo kuungana mkono na wenzangu Mheshimiwa Spika sana kusema kuwa ripoti hizi ambazo tuko nazo, tukiangalia kama ripoti hii ya Child Welfare Society of Kenya.
Yes. What's your point of order, Mr. Chief Oromodo? Oh, Kasim, sawa Mheshimiwa, pole.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Is the Honorable Member in order to claim that one Honorable buyer can finish another CEO? I'm not comfortable with. Is he in order to use that language that one can be finished?
Yes, indeed, Honorable Badi, you have used an unparliamentary language. You cannot say, did he say to kill him? What did he say? Angemaliza, which is basically means to kill him. You withdraw that, please, immediately. We don't take the law into our own hands in a lawmaking institution, a lawmaking body, the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. Yes, proceed. Withdraw. And apologize. He already has it. Oh.
Speaker.
Yes.
Sawa, nimetupilia mbali na nasema pia
umeomba msamaha.
Nimeomba msamaha kulingana na haya, lakini kulingana na uchungu ambayo Mheshimiwa Owen Baya amekuwa nao, lazima ilikuwa ndio sisi tusherekeshe ili kuonesha kama alikuwa na uchungu sana juu ya haya mashirika. Mheshimiwa Spika, kitu ambacho mimi ningependa niseme ni kwa kuwa katika ripoti.
Good job well done and a good presentation and detail, Honorable Speaker. That's what we expect of chairs, to be detailed and also to speak to the real issues that are there. I want to also to thank the committee, including my friend here, Ferdinand Wanyonyi, the great man from Kwanza, 4th term member of Parliament, for being part of that team. But Honorable Speaker, there are certain things that I note in this report. As you you listen to the chairman making that presentation, there are a lot of things that parastatal heads are doing that are ruining organizations. An audit, Honorable Speaker, is what makes us understand whether a corporation is healthy or not healthy. It is through audit that we know whether appropriation of funds is done or misappropriation fund is done, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when we listen to audit reports like that, where recommendations that are being made is that the CEO has to be surcharged, and you could hear that word many times, Honorable Speaker, on those corporations, CEO must be surcharged, CEO must be surcharged. It tells you there is mismanagement, Honorable Speaker. But the sad thing that happens, Honorable Speaker, mismanagement takes place, audit points out, but that CEO, even when he is surcharged and left on that seat, what happens? What is the logical thing? He will continue to pilfer. He'll continue to ruin that organization so that he recoups the surcharge that was done. Honorable Speaker, what we want to see, if a CEO has not managed a corporation, a government corporation well, he should be shown the door. He should leave. And he should not only be surcharged, he should be taken to court, Honorable Speaker, so that we get justice for the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker.
I don't know whether the system is the same as it used to be before this new constitution came to force. But during the early days,
yes, I could
there was also provision to recommend that this person should not hold a public office anymore. Not only surcharging, but should not be allowed to hold a public office. And that more or less was a norm that every CEO knew that would be the end of his or her stint in public sector if she does not correct or he doesn't correct. Yeah, proceed.
And Honorable Speaker, that's what should happen. If you're a CEO and you have been surcharged, you should not continue to hold public office. Honorable Speaker. If actually a committee of audit or the Auditor General recommends that you should be surcharged, that is actually a pointer that you are mismanaging the organization. But the sad thing, Honorable Speaker, these CEOs that have been talked about here, probably they still hold office. And they will be moved from this corporation they have pilfered and finished, and they moved to another. Eventually, they will want to become members of parliament, Honorable Speaker. And they will come here, Honorable Speaker, and want to do dishonorable things, Honorable Speaker. And this is what we need to guard as a nation. CEOs of corporations are actually the frontliners of government operations. And if frontliners of government operations mismanage organizations, they should be taken to the back burner and not allowed ever to manage. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I sit here and many times in this position that I hold.
You're a point of order, Honorable Kwanza, Wanyonyi Fred. Yeah, what's your point of order? Can you give him the mic?
Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform, and it be on record, that
you want to inform him?
We're informing my colleague.
Is he willing to have your information?
Yeah, he's listening.
No.
So all I'm saying is that in each case, we have given a timeline. Either 3 months, whatever, and most of this will come in this house. So those that will not have made that, whatever we have asked them to do, then of course we do what you are just saying, will be remanded. And that we have been very, very specific on each case. I just want to let my colleagues know.
And certain resources to be recovered from them directly.
Honorable Speaker, the thing that I expect in those 3 months, those reports move to the Committee on Implementation, Honorable Speaker. The Committee on Implementation has a duty of care for the nation to come back here and say, we have reprimanded this CEO and we have recommended that he should be removed from that position because of mismanagement. That's what we need to see. But Honorable Speaker, I was making a point that I sit here and read and lay papers. And one of the things that I do is I lay papers for a lot of the corporations in this country. And if you look at the list of corporations that we lay the papers on here, Honorable Speaker, there are many, many organizations. And that's why I want to thank Chairman Wangwe for the good, thorough work that he has done, Honorable Speaker. Okay. But the point that I'm trying to make is all these corporations whose accounts we look at here get a budget line from this parliament. They get money. Money which would have used for very other good things. But because they're state corporations, and every state corporation gets exchequer, and we appropriate funds for them. And if you look at the money is appropriated almost to these corporations. They run into billions and billions, hundreds of billions of shillings. We are giving state corporations to buy cars, to do operations, to pay salaries, and to do all that. But what happens to all this money when put together? It gets wasted. There is no value for money. The only way we can know there's no value for money, and the only way we can save taxpayers' money, is to ensure that, Honorable Speaker, if you have mismanaged a state corporation, we should not give you money in the next budget. It should not. And the appropriations in aid, which they receive.
Isn't that your role as a member of
and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this because
Assembly, you hold the purse.
The chairman is here. Yes. So next time, when your committees are supposed to do budget for those corporations, and because you have done the audit, you should write to the committee chairs, the departmental committees, and tell them this state corporation should not be given money because it wasted the last budget, Honorable Speaker. And that's the only way we can save state money and taxes, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I can see the Honorable Wangwe has a point.
Yeah, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. With all due respect to my senior leader here, you know, this is a House of Records, and when he directs that I write a, report, a letter or information to a departmental committee, it is vertical, it's horizontal communication, which cannot work for our committee. Instead, vertically it has to come here and sanction that committee through the report. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as a leader, as my leader on the other side, he should just give direction rather than again giving it a second delegation to me or my committee to do what he can do in his position, Honorable Speaker.
There again, Honorable...
I'm not shy from saying, Honorable Speaker, I direct this House that state corporations which lose money should not be given money in the next budget. They should not. And CEOs who have misappropriated funds should not be still in position in the next budget cycle to receive money and waste, Honorable Speaker. That's how we're going to save taxpayers' money. And this taxpayers' money, Honorable Speaker, I want to draw your attention. Today, I presented papers here, and one of the things I did is the list of loans that we have taken and the debts that we have. But ask yourself, this money, these loans that we take, sometimes this money ends up in these state corporations. And these state corporations get money that are loans. And they use the same money, Honorable Speaker, and waste the money. So what happens? We keep on paying loans. Loans which money has been borrowed, but has been misappropriated. And that guy who has misappropriated the money is still in office. And yet we have an audit report here that actually indicates that the person wasted resources. Honorable Speaker, we cannot continue that way. It is immoral, it is wrong, it is taking this country backwards. Transparency and accountability should be the banner of a democracy. It should be the banner of democracy. And it should what drives our, if your accounts have been audited and issues have been found, Honorable Speaker, and they have come to the floor of the House, and the House has actually reprimanded you, this is the last point where audit comes, Honorable Speaker. The last point of audit, Honorable Speaker. But we still see. We have seen vice chancellors who have mismanaged universities, and they are still in those positions, Honorable Speaker. They're still there. We have seen universities that have collapsed, Honorable Speaker, and vice chancellor still wears a cap, holds a graduation, and says, I'm the vice chancellor. And yet there's a chancellor there who still says, yes, you're there. Honorable Speaker, we have chairmen in these state corporations, chairmen who preside over the rot because they are yes people to the CEOs. You know, a CEO always holds the chairman very closely. And therefore, the chairman cannot hold into account the CEO. And it becomes a vicious cycle. Honorable Speaker, if you as chairman of a state corporation, that state corporations have been cited for audit and misappropriation of funds, Honorable Speaker, both the CEO, the chairman, and the board should go. But because of political patronage, Honorable Speaker, and I want to speak this with
The Chair appreciates very much the passion with which you are prosecuting this matter. But can I just ask you one question?
Yes.
Is the CEO of Child Welfare Society in 2015, 2016 still loading an office? Indeed, most of these things, I would be surprised if the CEO of the National Cancer Institute was there 2019 still around. He's not around.
And that's
just a moment.
That brings me to my next point.
Hang on, just to enrich you on what you have to say.
Yes,
and if the CEO of the National Social Security Fund in 2021 is still around, he's not around, or she's not around. And the same goes, I think, for the one who was there 2017, because that's a good 8 years ago. So I think it goes both ways. Parliament also has a responsibility. I mean, this is just for the interest of the chair. The chair is also a member of Parliament, you know that.
Yes.
That we get these reports on time.
And that was what my next point is, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Yes, the Honorable Kamanja.
Honorable Speaker.
Kamanja is on a point of order.
I like this debate.
Are you on a point of order, point of information?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Proceed.
I was trying to find the standing order that establishes the Committee of Implementation, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
And perhaps, and just bring it to your attention, Honorable Speaker, because once the Committee of Implementation receives these reports, and after they are tabled, there's a period of implementation that requires that the Committee of Implementation can only follow, I think, after 3 or 6 months. That's why I was trying 60 days. I stand guided 60 days, Honorable Speaker. Perhaps, Honorable Speaker, the majority leader who is standing in here, when they meet as House business, they need to resolve to allow the Committee of Implementation and these other oversight committees, the PICs and the PACs, to table their reports earlier, they are debated, approved, and referred to the Committee of Implementation so that we can keep up with some of these reports. Otherwise, you find the Committee of Implementation is looking at reports that were done in the 11th Parliament and not up to date. So by the time we catch up, these CEOs have retired and left or gone somewhere else. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order. Honorable Mwenji, you make a lot of sense. But in this case here, there shall be a select committee to be known as the Committee on Implementation. The committee shall scrutinize the resolutions of the House, including adopted committee reports. You're just about to adopt this report now. So the implementation committee cannot, you can't put the horse, the cart before the horse. What will it implement if this report is not there from the committees? So the starting point, in my opinion, is that these reports by the Public Investments Committee, Public Accounts Committee, should not be more than 1 year or 2 years old. That way you're able to get a CEO who is in office. But proceed. I mean, this is just to basically give you a bit of, proceed.
Say this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you see, 13th Parliament, what 13th Parliament has tried to do is to redeem that. Give me like 5 more minutes.
Yeah, proceed. You can have 3 more minutes.
13th Parliament has tried to redeem that because you remember we only used to have one Public Accounts Committee. And it was very difficult, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that all the accounts of all these state corporations were audited and the reports came to the floor, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I want, Mwanje, you are here at 12th Parliament? No, you are not. It's this Parliament. But you see, this is the first time we're having this many committees. It used to be only one. So what you are saying actually can happen only if we hasten the process to get all these reports out as soon as possible. And that's why I like what Wangwe has done. Chairman Wangwe, has consolidated reports of many years. You have reached which year? 2017?
No, yes, literally.
2024, which I want to congratulate him, Honorable Speaker. Yes. Next year, probably his next report will be a current report. And therefore, the implementation committee will be able to look at a current report and implement the resolution, force the implementation of the resolution. And that is what we must do. And I want to urge all these committee chairs of audit committees that we have, Honorable Speaker, to actually do that. We need to catch the guy when he is still at work. And we bring him here to Parliament and shame him and throw him out. Instead of them just continuing to squander and finish public institutions, Honorable Speaker. Even when we merge them, there is a paper I will table here, Honorable Speaker, and a motion I will bring on government enterprises, Honorable Speaker. But if we do that, if we do not catch these guys, they will continue their bad manners to waste taxpayers' money. We continue to pay loans. We continue to feed them, to eat, and all that, Honorable Speaker. There has to come a time to stop the squander of public resources by incompetent CEOs of these corporations. And I want them to hear that we are coming for them and will bring them to this house. We shall shame them and throw them out. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. Ndindi Nyoro.